Hi, and a warm welcome to today's webinar on the topic of how executives can enhance their professional reputation in using social media. And my name is Katie Caruan. I'll shortly get back to you with some more details about myself and Digoshen. However, just let me share my screen with you so you can take part of a presentation that I have prepared for this session. So that will allow us to stay on topic, and you're welcome, of course, to make some notes. You can also ask questions during the webinar, and I will stop towards the end of the webinar and pick them up and answer them as good as I can. And yeah, I really hope that you take the chance to ask a question or provide a comment. And also, if you want to stick around later, you will be able to hang out with me in the private area following the community of the Digoshen webinar hub. So a warm welcome once again, and I'm going to open up my presentation here for you and officially then welcome you to this topic. And we'll try to stick to the 30 minutes. I haven't managed so far because we have had a number of questions, but I hope that I will be able to do so today. I'm very conscious about your time restrictions. So let's get started right away. And I mentioned my name. It's Katie Caruan, and I'm the CEO of Digoshen, where my business partners and the co-founder, Liselott Engstam, and I, we help and support our clients and customers in getting digital insights so they can position themselves to be successful in the digital age and really embrace the opportunities more fully. So today's agenda will consist of the following topics, and we start off by going through some of the key considerations that executives need to go through before, I would say, leveling up or becoming more active in using social media. And we really strongly advocate that you should use social media strategically and not just ad hoc. There are tremendous advantages in doing so, and we'll get back to them in a while. We will also give you some hints and tips on what you can do to increase your reach and the impact as an executive. And this is about preserving and developing and stretching your professional reputation over time. I will also share some examples with you. We always do this during our webinars, and today I have some, I would say, pretty intriguing examples. I'm excited to be able to share more in detail. And hopefully they will inspire you to think about your own situation as well. And then finally, I will mention a few of our resources that you can benefit from totally free of charge to continue and look into this matter more and what it means to you as an executive or board director. So let's start with a definition of the professional reputation. And last week I had the privilege of interviewing Per Frykman, and Per is a pioneer, I would say, in the area of professional reputation management. And I asked him for the definition, and he shared that with me, so I'm going to quote him here. And he says that the professional reputation is how your actions and unique qualities are perceived by others in your professional surroundings. And the professional reputation sets the expectations of what you can accomplish and how you can do it. So this means it's about behavior, it's about how you are perceived. And we would like to challenge executives and board directors to become a bit more conscious about this, to make sure that the online behavior in social media reflects the behavior that we meet people to people or face-to-face in the regular meetings. So let's start with the key considerations. And again, if you come up with any comments or questions, feel free to add them to the questions box. And I will stop at the end to make sure that we can go through them before we finalize today's webinar. Now, the first consideration is, what is your professional reputation today? Do you know? Or do you just have a suspicion or a hope or maybe a fear? So what is it that other people say about you when you are not present? This is also something that Per Frykman has has shared when working with him in the past, that it's a combination of many different factors, but mainly it's what's being said about us when we're not present. So what is that in your case? Do you know that? Secondly, and equally important, of course, is to think about what and how you would like to be perceived in the future. So if you're in a job today and you want to make an even bigger impact in your current job, if you want to attract more assignments and maybe attend more boards, what is it that you would like to grow into as an executive, as a leader? What is it? What kind of behaviors and what kind of footprints do you want to leave behind? Thirdly, who do you want to inspire? So who are the people that you want to be engaging with and you want to be, I would say, followed by? Who should listen to you and why? Maybe you know, or maybe it's changing for you. Maybe there's a new target group compared to today or even previously. So have a think about that. Who would you love to inspire and why? And what would you like to inspire them about? So which topics are you, as a leader, as an executive, passionate about that you can share in and demonstrate and use as fuel, so to speak, to develop and enhance your professional reputation? And finally, we're coming towards the end here of the considerations, but we need to understand, where do the stakeholders hang out? The people we want to inspire, where we need to leave the footprints and engage, where do they spend their time? Which social media platforms, beyond the offline networking events and so on? Which platforms are important in order to understand where they spend time, where they engage, and where you can reach them? And whom do you need help from? So how can you mobilize your network? And is this something that you do on a regular basis, or do you just do it when you really need help? And that's something you need to reconsider, because today you will benefit tremendously from mobilizing your network on a frequent basis. So you should give that a thought as well. And then finally, on the more personal side of things, this is the trick that really makes executives and board directors stand out: the people who are courageous enough to share a story. Doesn't mean that you have to be private, but sharing a story and sharing more about your big why in business is very effective in terms of building resonance with your audience and build a following over time. So these are the key considerations that you should look into. And at Digoshen, when we work with customers and companies, we have a minimal list of 25 key considerations, but these are the 7 essential ones that you should start with. And then, of course, you need to add a lot of other dimensions as well. But reflect about these 7 and see what's in it for you. Are you clear about these things, or are they vague today? And if they are vague, what do you need to do in order to make the scene clearer? So let's move on then to the top 5 reasons why you should use social media strategically. And what we see at Digoshen is that many leaders use social media now and then. It's very much an ad hoc thing. And there seems to be a lack of strategy. There seems to be a lack of consistent appearance or focus and drilling into areas that could be strategically important. So we're going to share now 5 different things that we believe are the key reasons why you should do this more strategically. And then, of course, it's up to you to put into the time and the effort that you need to do. But it doesn't have to take a lot of time. And this is a misunderstanding and a myth, because there are ways of really keeping it really stringent and having focus in the way you use these tools. let's get started here. So the top 5 reasons. The first one is that by being active on social media, you can listen in to what your stakeholders engage in. So you might decide as an executive or board director not to be very active yourself, but you can always listen and learn what other people are doing and what they're engaging in and what's happening and who is doing what with whom. So you have a lot of business intelligence, so to speak, at your fingertips. Secondly, it's also very strategic to use social media because you will attract not only new customers, but you will also remind your old customers about your presence and your whereabouts and your new offerings. So it's a very nice way of staying in touch, of inspiring, and building your following, building a tribe around the leadership and the organization or organizations that you are attached to. And not at least, attracting talent and the professionals who decide to become giggers and freelancing as high-end top talents, where leaders and executives now need to orchestrate more of that workforce moving into the future. So they are really looking into whom they would like to work for, whom they would like to partner with, and how successful are you in demonstrating that on the social media platforms. Then the fourth one is one of my favorites, actually. It's about attracting new and off-radar opportunities. What do I mean by this? Means that when you become active on social media and you use it strategically, you will attract attention and ideas and opportunities from people and organizations that you did not have on your own radar. And that has happened to me and people I work with many, many times, that I share something or something happens and I engage in something and somebody comes up with an idea and we have a meeting and we create something new. So simply in sharing what you are up to and sharing parts of your journey and what you're passionate about will help you to attract other people who get ideas and can see potential for co-creation. And for innovation purposes, that is totally totally how to say that, it's an amazing opportunity to create something that you could never plan on your own. So this is absolutely a very interesting mechanism to get things on your radar that you never could plan for yourself. And then, of course, many people miss this one, but social media today, it's a lot about learning. It's about trends. It's about taking part of discussions. It's about sharing perspectives. It's about taking part of articles, blog posts. You have lots of Q&As and help available via social media, where you can learn and you can demonstrate your expertise as well. So it doesn't have to take a lot of time. It's simply a matter of realizing the power of social media for you as an executive on the go, as you're traveling between meetings and so on, that you can actually access a lot of learning opportunities by your cell phone or your mobile device. So those 5 are the top reasons why you absolutely should use social media strategically. So you can't just use it ad hoc anymore. That was possibly something we could do 4 or 5 years ago, but now it's more like a daily thing that we try to embed into everything else that we do. And as with all new behaviors and new customs, of course, we need to implement them over time, and we need to find our own ways of making that an efficient way. So what can you do then to increase your reach and impact? So I've selected now a few points here, so hopefully you will be able to pick some of them up. And even if you're doing some of these, probably you can stretch yourself a bit on some of that. So let's see here. So first of all, of course, related to the professional reputation, having insights about how you are perceived by others, That's really, really valuable. And of course, you can analyze that, and you can work with people like Friedman and then his partners to do so. You can also look at your strengths. You can ask people and so on. So there are many ways that you can actually get access to insights about this. What we see after working together with Per Friedman and his partners over the last few years is that many leaders are quite blind to some of the key strengths, things they take for granted, things they are very, very good at, things that come easily to them, and things they think are fun. They tend to underestimate the effect on others. So just being more insightful about how you are perceived will help you in getting that focus. And then you can use that, not only when meeting people face to face, but also, of course, in how you act on social media. So what we always recommend is that you should focus on demonstrating your strengths consistently, both online and offline. And if I quote again Per Friedman, he would say that you should start offline and then you should transit into online. We think you can do both. You should blend them. The most important thing is that you should be able to recognize the person after reading or taking part of his or her LinkedIn profile and engagement on social media, on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, when you meet him or her in person. Very often we see that there's a disconnect. So ask yourself right now, so is it possible to recognize myself if somebody meets me, if they read my LinkedIn profile or see how I engage using Twitter? And if not, there's something you can do. Then, of course, you can't be everywhere, and you might have your own preference in terms of which social media platform you would like to use. You should probably just choose one or two at the beginning just to be really good at using them. Now, what we normally start off by saying is that the combination of LinkedIn and Twitter is really, really strong because you have so much information available at your fingertips. But of course, you could have a preference for Facebook or YouTube or SlideShare or Instagram or whatever, depending on your industry and depending on your stakeholders where they hang out. Select one or two from the beginning where you really build expertise and understand how to communicate there. And then very often you can transfer a lot of the same skills and the same behavior to another platform, even though the platform might differ in terms of how to communicate and how to the frequency of sharing and so on. But the principles and your personality can come through in a similar way anyway. Then as number 4, you should really try to nail down your areas of interest to engage in, so you're not too split and confuse your followers. So in order to really develop your professional reputation with credibility, you should focus on 1, maximum 3 different areas. And we normally recommend that you should start by, focusing on in one area and then grow from there. And if you are in a situation as an executive or board member that you are in transition between an old competence field and you're moving into a new area of expertise, why not focus on that new area of expertise? And you can then share content from other experts in that area, and you can add your perspectives and you can get associated with that. And over time, you will build your own content around that. And you can demonstrate your expertise by, I would say, leaning on other people's content from the beginning. So in that area, it's possible absolutely to develop and move your professional reputation in an expert area, also by just having a strict focus on which topics to engage in. And then mobilizing your network. So what we see is that many people in general, professionals, but especially leaders, they are not very good often in keeping a frequent, I would say, contact and staying in touch with their network unless they need something. If there's a crisis, if they need help, maybe they need a new job or they need a new assignment. So that doesn't really create any credibility. So what we really encourage you to do is to make sure that you maintain your network as you do in normal life, and you go to network meetings, that you also do it online, that you pay attention when people are promoted, something is happening in a business, and you might help somebody, and you're just being alert in your network. And then we also see that many people are underestimating the effect of having a diverse group of contacts and connections. So sometimes it might not be the best contacts only to have CEOs and CXOs and board directors in your network, for instance, on LinkedIn. Maybe there are other people with very, very strong networks who have the capability and the willingness to act as matchmakers, who can be as valuable as the CXOs or the CEOs in your network. So just pay attention to that and see, did you miss something? Did you ignore somebody in the past that could have a great network for you to engage in? It could help you get up new opportunities on your radar. Have a look through again, and maybe you should start by just browsing through the connections of your connections and see whom you might have missed out or ignored in the past. Finally, and this is the tricky one, it says share your story and your big why in business. And we see this over and over again, that the executives and leaders who do this are successful. But it does create some resistance, it does create some fear, and there are not that many role models in every industry to do so. But there are some good examples. I'm going to show some of them in a minute. But we see it over and over again that if you are confident enough to share some of your stories, some of your rationale behind the choices you make, why you end up where you are, and also for the really courageous ones, like my partner Per Frykman would say, what you haven't done yet. How can you set expectations about what you haven't done yet? Are you able to share that story? That creates a lot of curiosity about you, and it will add to your professional reputation as well. So instead of just looking backwards, also make sure to share stories about now, and why not, the story about what is coming next for you. So I mentioned these examples, and I selected 2 examples today that I really find fascinating, and they are very bold, both of them. So I don't want you to fall off your chairs now to think that I mean that everybody should do the same thing. I just want to show you what happens if somebody is quite innovative and maybe a bit bold in using social media to enhance the professional reputation. So let's have a look here, the first one. This is a Norwegian lady, and her name is Anita Krohn Traaseth. And she is today the CEO of Innovation Norway, which is supporting startups in Norway. However, 2012, she started her own blog called Tinteguri. And back then, she applied for the job as the managing director of HP in Norway. And in her blog, she did something that was quite unusual. Not only did she continue to blog when she got the job, because she got it. She continued to blog, and she didn't only blog about things concerning her job. She blogged about politics, she blogged about society, she blogged about trends, and so on. And also she shared the application that she sent in order to get the job. And this is just a screenshot from the application. It's available on her blog. And she shared the personal ambition that she had, and the corporate level motivations, and the national level motivations, and so on. And this was quite unheard of, that you actually made it public what you wrote in an application letter to get a managing director job. So of course she got a lot of buzz around that, and she has continued to maintain her blog. And when she switched jobs, she is still doing her blog as herself, so to speak, above the job that she currently holds. So that's just to give you an example of somebody who is bold enough to do something that is untraditional and courageous. And not everyone was pleased, but many people were intrigued as well. And I'm not saying that she wouldn't have gotten the job as the CEO for Innovation Norway without doing this, but of course it helped to show that she was looking into and interested into several topics in the society and in politics and in the trends and in the development in general beyond her current job. So it was a way for her to really open up to the off-radar opportunities. So let's have a look at the second example, and this is a very recent one. So this is a gentleman called Srinivasan, and he is the former Chief Digital Officer at the New York Metropolitan Museum of Art. And to be frank, I hadn't heard about him until a month ago. And the reason I heard about him was because I picked up that he actually had to leave his job at the museum as the Chief Digital Officer, and he shared that on Facebook in an open post. So he says, some personal news to share with you. After 3 amazing years, I will leave, and so on and so on. And then he shared also the internal announcement of why he's leaving, and he asks his surroundings, his network, to help him out. So, do you want to meet? Let's have a discussion and share some ideas. So he was really opening up and making himself available to new opportunities. So what happened? This was a month ago. So I just checked in today to see what he's up to right now. And I was really intrigued, because what I found was the following. He's now interviewing a lot of very interesting people, like such and such a chairman and high-end CEOs, and he is running different types of initiatives, and he's asking for our help. So what he's doing is using a Google Doc and a form there in order to have people sign up for his newsletter, but also, as he said, he's looking for our ideas on what he should do next. And apparently, when I checked last time this morning, he had more than 900 responses to that. So to me, that's really a great example of how to open up and to engage with people and listen and see what happens. Totally off radar as opportunities. So who knows what will happen in 1 month for him. I think we'll have to spend another webinar in diving into that. So when looking at these two examples with Anita Kron-Tråset and Mr. Srinivasan, I would say that there are some common themes, and I would like you to reflect about them. So first of all, they are both showing courage, they're transparent and vulnerable, right? So even though you might think, or probably think like I do, I might not stretch myself to that extent. However, what could be the stretch for you to enhance from where you are today? And what type of leadership skills are they demonstrating in the way they act on social media? So in my view, and this is why I'm adding this here at the end, it's appearance plus behavior. So appearance is nice. You can have a beautiful profile and it can look really well and very impressive credentials and resume components. But unless you show the behavior that is typical for your leadership style, it's not really consistent and trustworthy. So that's the stretch that you and I and we all can think about. What does it mean to us? Are we demonstrating our leadership style in the way we act on social media? And if not, what should we do to make sure that is more consistent with how we are perceived when we meet offline? So I'm going back now to the presentation just to, I'm going back to the audience here to see if there are any questions today. Okay, I can't see that there are any live questions yet. So there's still some, we'll spend a few more minutes just to catch up with the last agenda point here. And I will go back to, I'll go back to my presentation again just to sum it all up for you. And here we go. So if you have a question after this session, or if you want to listen again, or if you're listening without attending the live session, just ask the question and I'll get back to you via the webinar hub. If there are any questions regarding professional reputation more in detail, I will make sure to forward that to my business partner, Per Frykman, as well. So the final thing I just want to add to what we have done so far today is to make you aware of some additional resources that we have available for you at Digoshen. And at our Insight platform, you can see the link here, digoshen.com/insight platform. You can actually learn more about the hints and tips and the strategy for creating a social media, a personal social media strategy for yourself, and the 25 key considerations that you need to look into that would help you and make it easier for you to level up from where you are today. So this is free of charge, and you're welcome to join us, and we hope we will see you on the inside. And with that, I'm about to sum up now, and I want to thank you for joining today. You are always welcome in suggesting new topics to these webinars. We're running them now on a weekly basis during the summertime, and then afterwards on a bi-weekly basis. And we hope to see you here soon again. So we wish you the best of reflections about professional reputation and how you can enhance that by combining the offline and the online world. And we might even see each other on social media moving forward. So have fun with that, and bye for now.